into the NFC East. Now, we got the Giants. We got the Eagles. We got the Cowboys. And what's the last team's name?
The Washington football team, Chris.
Are you sure about that? Have they changed their name at all or no?
I don't. Not to my knowledge.
No, they're still the football team. Okay.
I get or they reverted, which I doubt. I don't think that's allowed. I don't even think it's legal to say. Like our show would be instantly taken off the air if I said their former name, Chris.
Obviously, Pierre all of a sudden is listening.
Back.
Pierre's back, of course.
So
we are gonna break down this division. Philadelphia, Dallas, Washington, New York says reckoning if that's his order. The Washington reskins, they're reskinning their team. Eagles, Cowboys, Commodos, Weeping Giants. All right, so where do you want to start here, Scotty, in this one? Do we want to start?
We started from the bottom, and I think we should, stay consistent with that. Pierre, thank you for football wife gifting Pierre.
Pierre, you're going to need some love. Thank you. There you go. Appreciate that, football life, for the love. Pierre appreciates it too.
He's about to get a lot of hate. No, I'm just kidding. I think we should start with the bottom, Chris, which was maybe different. We haven't discussed our opinions on these divisions, by the way, before hopping on here. But for me...
Blue cheese won, by the way. Blue cheese won the dipping sauce contest.
All right. Well, I actually just want to... Can we cut the stream?
Just ban it.
Done.
Ban everybody.
Done.
Ban everybody.
I'm done. Blue cheese tastes like literal stale... Okay. Let's talk divisions here, Chris. I'd probably start with the G-men.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. The New York Football Giants. Unfortunately, we have to cover both New York teams tonight, and unfortunately, these teams have struggled to be relevant or good for a while. When you look at the Giants,
yep,
you start with their draft this year because.
By the way, can I get it? Sorry to interrupt. Can we throw out the odds on right now for all these teams just to paint a picture to start? Dallas Cowboys are plus 125 to win the division, so they are the favorites. Philadelphia right behind them at 185. This is according to FanDuel Sportsbook. Then you got the Commanders at plus 500 and the Giants at plus 700. Now, this has historically not been a very good division and not a lot of competitive aspects to, really high level teams. You only have like maybe one team that really stands out over the course of the season, typically. So with that all being said, Dallas, Philly, Washington, and New York in that order according to FanDuel Sportsbook. Okay, sorry.
Yep. So I love what the Giants did in the draft. And so do the Cowboys, ironically. So the Cowboys, Jerry Jones released their draft board, weirdly, their first round draft board or whatever, their top. The Giants got both of them. They're top two. So the Cowboys draft board was, I don't know in which order, but it was Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama, and Kayvon Thibodeau, the defensive end from Oregon, 1 and 2. And the Giants were able to bring both these guys on board. So I love what they did. Like, listen, I think Evan Neal's going to be a cornerstone left tackle in the league for a very long, long time. I love Kayvon Thibodeau's upside. A year ago, he was the number one pick in the draft. There's some injury concerns there. He was also, injured during their rookie mini camp stuff. So I'm a little concerned that he doesn't necessarily always stay healthy. But if he's healthy, I love Kayvon. Kayvon's going to be just fine and an elite addition to that team. And they, murdered the draft just based off of adding those two players. But here's the problem. That roster is just not good otherwise. And quite frankly, the roster lost more than they gained. They didn't gain. You look at who they signed. Ricky Seals-Jones at tight end. They added almost no one in the offseason. It's like their GM forgot that was a thing you could do. They lost Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Nate Solder, Will Hernandez, Billy Price, a ton of their offensive linemen. James Bradbury, they had to release. Jabril Peppers at safety was gone. Logan Ryan at DB. Like, so many pieces left. And here you are. I mean, the whole storyline, though, for the Giants is Daniel Jones. So we've talked about it with other teams, but Daniel Jones is in his 5th year, headed into this 5th year, didn't get extended, or maybe it's his 4th year, sorry. And it didn't extend to the 5th year option. So this is kind of do or die for Daniel Jones, the Giants. We'll see. You have Saquon Barkley. Can he stay healthy? Obviously, they added weapons last year in the offseason that didn't really work out at the wide receiver position. I'm even drawing a blank on their name, but the guy from Detroit, I'm sure Chairman can help us out there, that they signed. But this Giants team, I just don't see this roster. They need a new quarterback. I love what they did in the draft in the first round, but that's about all I love about this team. And I really want to love Saquon, but he's injury prone and he's not the dude he was coming out of Penn State. So this team's kind of sad to me. Chris, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Let me dive into the chat here before I get into the
Kenny Galloway.
Thibodeau was number 1 for Dallas. Says Reckoning. Cowgirls won't win. Bottom line, can the Bull turn Daniel Jones into Josh Allen? And that will not happen. Not that I can see. Agree, says Buffalo Jack. Welcome in, Buffalo Jack. How we doing? Agree, that's what they are hoping for. Casually average man from Detroit, Alex Murphy.
I mean, there's no doubt that Daniel Jones has his moments, and he's more athletic than anyone gives him credit for, despite him falling over in that epic, famous Monday night game where he fell over. But he just hasn't. You just keep seeing moments, but he doesn't make strides to consistency. There's no consistency there with Daniel Jones. Obviously, new coaching staff. We'll see what happens there and whether they're able to ignite Daniel Jones. But that draft pick, I mean, I don't think anyone outside of the Giants were happy about the Giants. The Giants taking Daniel Jones when they did seemed kind of wild at the time, right? Here's a dude, went to Duke, was fine, and had traits as a first-round pick, but, the Giants picking him felt wrong at the time and hasn't worked out yet. Daniel Jones could move into, our top... He could move into, the 16 to 19 range, but that, to me, is, a peak. That's a peak. And that's not someone that's going to win you a Super Bowl. So are you in the business of winning Super Bowls, or are you in the business of being okay?
Yeah, and Daniel Jones is a piece that I think is going to be the biggest question mark regardless. That's the obvious one, right? What is he? Is he a guy or is he not the guy? And it doesn't look like he's the guy. Digging deeper into this roster, I think the biggest... Hey, let's go. DeShore, thank you for the sub.
That was Diacola gifting out a
let's
sub to
go.
D-Shorts.
Diacola.
Just got to start with the letter D to gain some love there.
Appreciate that. 3 gifted subs in the channel. Appreciate that, Diacola, for spreading the love. I will update the sub goal here in a second. Thank you for all. So generous. Thank you. All right. So the position battle that's interesting is the wide receiver one, right? So they have invested a ton at the position in recent years, right? Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. They just are trying to figure out something to throw for Daniel Jones in there to make him successful. And so they're really just trying to just throw shit at the dartboard and see if it sticks. And will Daniel Jones be able to make shit stick? We'll find out.
Everyone keeps saying Galloway. It's Galladay, right? It's with a D.
Kenny Galladay.
It's with a
yeah.
It's not Galloway.
And Wan'Dale Robinson is another one. They signed a lucrative deals. drafted in the first couple rounds. Yeah.
Reckoning tries to make it weird. What's sad is Jones was a better pick than Haskins. R.I.P. Haskins, though.
Okay. Crazy.
Yeah. Crazy tragic.
There's serious competition for playing time when it comes to the wide receiver position. So how they are able to like distinguish between who's going to be the most successful, again, Daniel Jones has got to be the big piece of that. So we'll see what ends up happening there. A big need for them is the secondary. Giants could use veterans at the corner position. Xavier McKinney at one safety spot. Adoree Jackson as their number one.
They
corner.
Released Bradbury, though. That was like their best corner, but they weren't willing to pay him what he was going to make. So, and then he joined the Eagles. So we'll see how that affects the division here. But the Giants seem.
The Giants,
they have the most unknown to me in the division, and just the least upside.
They have the worst. They have the worst roster in this entire division. Let's just put it like it is. Commanders
and maybe worse quarterback.
Commanders.
The quarterback play is not great in this division, though.
Yeah, you're right. So, it's going to be interesting. Commanders are kind of a wild card to see like what is going to come out of there. The Eagles crushed the draft, traded for wide receiver A.J. Brown. We'll get to that in a little bit. And then also the Cowboys' offensive line is on the decline, but it's still better than most other offensive lines in the league. So, we'll see how that's going to end up panning out. But when it comes down to it, all those teams that I just mentioned have better rosters than the Giants. So that's why we have them most likely slotted in last. Let's dive into, you want to talk about Commanders here? You want to talk about the Commanders? Yeah, let's do it. Dive into
No, but yes.
All right, Pierre's ears perked up. We'll dive into the Commanders.
Do you want to start us off on this one, or you want me to go?
No. It doesn't matter to me. I think it's going to be...
You go.
Okay. So
you go.
The Commanders obviously are in an interesting spot as well. So they've made a lot of changes. They've had a lot of issues going on in the front office, and a lot of things happening overall. And it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate this season coming up. So with the Commanders, I just want to pull up their rosters just real quick to make sure that I'm not forgetting anybody when it comes to this one. But I think the Commanders are maybe a third place team, second place team at their absolute best here. Pierre's already upset. He's already setting. They acquired Carson Wentz, right? They have Antonio Gibson, and they have Terry McLaurin. Obviously, Terry McLaurin is a nice piece to have. I mean, he's one of the best receivers in the league, a very dynamic receiver. Curtis Samuel, Jahan Dotson. And I feel like they're going to be decent. I think Carson Wentz is the biggest question there, where, it's the decision making, right? He can win regular season games, but he always tends to make really game-changing turnovers, or he really tends to, really change the way a game is going single-handedly. We saw, the Indianapolis Colts go into Jacksonville at the end of last season, and that was a big piece of why we're like, oh man, like that's rough, right? You don't want to end a season like that. Defensively, Chase Young coming off an injury, he's going to be able to hopefully get back into the swing of things. But, I think the defense, Jamin Davis, middle linebacker, we talked a lot about him last year from the draft. I think they have a nice little roster there. But overall, I mean, when it comes to the Washington Commanders, there's a few things that, they need. Depth is especially on defense, is a big piece. They're thin behind the starters at linebacker, and the secondary in particular. They have the players to be good at defense, but can't afford injuries. So I think that's... Hey, thank you so much for another gifted. Diacola's on the sub train. Let's go.
And those subs. Congrats to Casually Average.
There you go.
Today, your lead.
Young, again, back from his ACL. Line should remain... The line should remain the strength of the defense. So, there you go on that. But I still think that if guys get hurt on that defensive side of the ball, we saw it last year, it really shows. So that's the biggest thing that I am looking for. But offensively, I think that Carson Wentz can win games. I just don't know if it's going to be enough in this division. There's a couple teams that I like better in this one, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. I think those are uphill battles. I think this division is going to be more competitive than it typically is normally, Scotty. I think realistically, Washington can surprise teams, but I think that,
Vegas thinks this comes down to the Cowboys and Eagles. When you look at the line and the odds to win the division, you got the Cowboys barely favored over the Eagles, plus 135. Everyone's plus money, so you get plus money on anybody. Plus 135 Cowboys, plus 165 Eagles. Then you got the Commanders at plus 500 and the Giants at plus 800. So we're probably heading in that same order, Chris. When I look at the Commanders, it's a confusing team to me. What I understand less than anything is why they traded for Carson Wentz. Listen, Carson Wentz was obviously in your division, so you were familiar with him. And a team traded a ton of draft capital in the Colts to get Carson Wentz, and then was willing to move on after one season and get way less in return as far as draft capital to what they gave up after 1 year. Don't you start to think oh, maybe this isn't the dude. Maybe this isn't the guy. So thank you, Valor.
Valor, well,
subbing on a 2-month streak now. Thank you for keeping up that sub
streak.
Thank you,
Valor. Welcome in. Let's go.
But the Wentz trade is weird to me.
Whoa, Valor gifting 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you so much, Valor. Let's go.
Thank you. I can stop talking for a while if you want to keep gifting subs. I don't even have to speak.
Wow.
I don't want to interrupt this, but thank you, Valor. That's amazing.
Relaxium, thank you for the follow. It's going to happen here in a second. We got some subs. Valor gifting us up to Jake, Uncle Drew, Joker Nation, Small Walter Fishing, and It's Casual Dash. Thank you so much, Valor, for all of the love. Woo!
Let's go.
That means we got
following. I appreciate it. Valor says hello from the Sports Disaster. We love some Sports Disaster here.
Guys, post the link.
That show is always entertaining, and post that in the chat here. Getting back real quick to what we're supposed to be talking about. This team's confusing. I don't trust Carson Wentz, but granted, they had Taylor Heineke last year. Wasn't exactly an elite quarterback, so maybe Wentz is way more talented than Taylor Heineke. But Wentz does the stupid things, and I don't think he's a leader in the locker room. There's a lot of issues I have with Wentz. Washington is also weird in the sense that 2 years ago, they made the playoffs. You'll remember that. They actually gave Tampa kind of a run for their money in that first round wildcard game. And not in that game necessarily, but they made the playoffs because they had a great defense 2 years ago. You had elite pass rushers and Chase Young and Montez Sweat. And then all of a sudden, last year, their defense, even when Chase Young was healthy for the first half of the season before he tore his ACL, let this play.
It just keeps rolling. And now there's no thing with it.
Okay.
But Diacola, another gifted sub. Thank you, Diacola, for another gifted sub. Thank you for the bits, chairman of the board. Hey, chairman, if you want to add a message to it, let it go. We have a level 3 hype train going, guys. Keep it rolling. If you guys want to send some bits, if you want anything, let's go. Let's get it rolling. Relaxium, Wentz is a medical disaster, future study material for med students.
Everything with Washington on their defense has to relate to that front four. That line with Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and Darren Payne need to dominate. And they should dominate, and they did in the first half of last year. Because everywhere else, you're kind of like Kendall Fuller at corner, fine. But the linebacking core in the secondary is not elite. So you need that front four to just ball out if you're Washington. I don't see them being talented enough to put up enough points with the defensive line that's been inconsistent year to year. I mean, they went from one of the best defenses to one of the worst defenses within a season. So last year they were awful on defense. So we'll see, Pierre. We'll see. And I haven't even said the comments I think going to piss you off the most. It was more related to some wardrobe situation. But we're all good, Pierre. I love you.
Pierre, I blocked one of yours because it was a little aggressive. But hey, we know Pierre. I think honestly, Pierre. All right, Scotty, throw in something you like about the watch. Like, we don't even have to have a redemption. Like,
I mean, that front four on defense has the potential to be one of the best, if not the best, in football. And them extending and re-signing Terry McLaurin was a great decision because Scary Terry is an elite wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, no, I think there's some nice pieces in Washington.
So there's some compliments, and I like what they have at running back with Gibson and McKissick as well. How about that?
Yeah, no, see, Pierre, we're giving you some love. You Pierre's fired up, but we get it. Seven Sly, what's up? How are we doing? Just because Washington changed their team doesn't mean it changes expectations. Casually average. Remember their defense. Relax. Dr. J made this account for me a while back. Even subbed me before I never even used it. Oh, relax.
But here you are.
Here you go. Let's go.
And where is Dr. J, by the way?
We missed Dr. J. It's been a while. We need to. Pierre salty. It's okay. Chat. Don't worry. He's this is how.
Pierre, were you even listening as I gave some compliments?
Yeah, we gave some good compliments for Washington, Pierre. It's all right.
Yeah.
Pierre
always has some rational thoughts in the moment.
All right. So Pierre, just take a breather. Have you ever had those breathing exercises? In through your nose, out through your mouth. That's all. Just There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. Washington, live and die LA. Go Rams. All right. Cool. Rams. You're happy about your Rams. Relaxium. There we go. Speaking of, Speaking of Pierre, maybe try some Relaxium and just relax a little bit. RELAX. All right. Let's talk about the Eagles now. Philadelphia Eagles coming in here. Now, the most intriguing battle, I mean, they made a lot of changes here in Philadelphia, and you have a nice little battle at the wide receiver position. AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, number 1A and 1B, respectively, from there. From there, it gets interesting because you got, some guys that can really offensively make something having Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal, there's undrafted rookie Brenton Covey is in there in the mix too. So there's a lot to like when it comes to, a lot of their offensive weapons. Jalen Hurts is coming off a nice little end of the season last year, right? I mean, they did have, and we talk about this a lot, they had a nice, easy schedule to coast into the playoffs, right? So we acknowledge that. But that doesn't take away the fact that Jalen Hurts had some flashes, and we are trying, is this the, Scotty, is this the year, like, you have year, the Chinese calendar, year of the pig, you have the year of the whatever. Is this the for the NFL, this is year of who is my quarterback? Like, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this situation. Like, what is he? And I think that this is of all the quarterbacks, I think he has a lot of upside moving into this season. Definitely from a fantasy. If you talk about fantasy football standpoint, I really like what Jalen Hurts brings. He's got a lot of weapons to work with. He, is very good when it comes to, just racking up fantasy points. But, I think overall, the Eagles and the Cowboys really have a nice little chance here to battle for this division, which could come down to the wire at the end of the season, realistically. I think this is going to be a fun battle, fun matchups all the way through the course of the season. So, Scotty, what do you have on the Philadelphia Eagles? What do you like? I might take a quick code yellow here while you're talking, but go ahead, get them started here. And if you have to get to the chat too, I think there's a lot of stuff in the chat. Choo choo,
Yep.
the chain ended. We
we had a little hype train going there. It didn't get notified for us, Chris, but I saw up top there was a hype train going. We choo-chooed for a little bit, and then 7 Sly Eagles will make it to the playoffs again. Trust. How many divisions did I miss? So we're only covering the AFC and NFC East tonight. So you only missed the AFC East, which is, it's a division, but we got a lot to cover heading on into our next few shows. So don't worry about that. Everyone, I don't even have to say it. They're streaming code YELLOW in the chat. Chris vanished at some point there. I don't even know. And I'm supposed to dive into the Eagles. The Eagles are a complex team for me. So, listen, I've always loved AJ Brown. Chris, when he gets back, will tell you, I have always been a huge AJ Brown fan. So I love what the Eagles did trading for AJ Brown, along with Devontae Smith, who was close to it. I mean, the Eagles haven't had an 1,000-yard receiver since Jeremy Maclin. So Devontae Smith was like 900 plus last year, but both of them could exceed that this year. So I like what they're doing there. They added Hassan Reddick, who was a nice pass rusher, to add to that pass rush a little bit. We talked about James Bradbury from the Giants in that secondary, being a piece to add. But I'm going to pump the brakes. I like what the Eagles did this offseason. I really, really did. But I'm going to pump the brakes on them being the favorite in the NFC East. When you look at the lines, it's really, really close between them and the Cowboys for division winner. When you look at what happened last year, though, the Cowboys went 12-5. The Eagles went 9-8. I know they made the playoffs, but let's keep in mind they made the playoffs because we added a playoff team last year. The NFL added a playoff team. And quite frankly, the Eagles looked out of place in that playoff game against the Bucs. They were not good. Jalen Hurts was not good. I have a lot of question marks about Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is ever going to be accurate enough or read defenses enough and put it in the right spot to be an elite quarterback. I just don't. I love AJ Brown. I love Devontae Smith. That offensive line, Jason Kelce came back one more year at center. Like, there's so much I like about what the Eagles have done. I do not, and you're right, Chris. Jalen Hurts is a top 5 fantasy quarterback. If that's what your interest is, draft Jalen Hurts. As a real life quarterback, I don't like Jalen Hurts. I really, really don't. And I'm probably lower on him than most, and that's where it comes in. But this Eagles team is not a Super Bowl contender with Jalen Hurts, and they never will be. They never will be. So the best scenario is that Jalen Hurts, if you're an Eagles fan, the best scenario is that Jalen Hurts just epically fails, because there is no way that Jalen Hurts is ever going to lead the Eagles to a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. Never, ever, 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 ever gonna happen. So let's move on. They made a weird second round pick a few years ago and gave it a shot. But that dude, he's not it. He's not it. And eventually you're going to have to make a choice and pay him. You're not going to pay Jalen Hurts. So I think the Eagles brass knows they have to move on as well.
Interesting.
But they're going to provide him with every opportunity. Let's get AJ Brown in there. Let's give you Devontae Smith. Let's give you a good offensive line. And quite frankly, a pretty good running game. And let's see what you can do. There's no excuses for Jalen Hurts this year. If this offense isn't really, really good, it's on Jalen. That's it.
Yeah, and again, that's the biggest question. We've mentioned it for a ton of quarterbacks. That's why I say like this year is a big time question of who is my quarterback? who do we have back there, and what can they do? Because I mean, we've already talked Tua, we've talked Jalen Hurts, we've talked a lot of these guys that it's just like, well, we don't know what we got yet. We're trying to figure it out. This is the year. So it's his second year as the full-time Philly starter. So he needs to succeed. He has all the tools he need. AJ Brown obviously was the big one that happened on draft day. Hurts is only 23, right? He led the Eagles to the playoffs in 2021 with a 9-8 record. Finished among quarterbacks in yards, like first in yards rushing and rushing touchdowns, and he's 26th in completion percentage, which that needs to step up. You can't win anything with a completion percentage 26th in the league, 61%. So you have to minimize those connections, the deficiency with those missed connections, and you have to see what you got. So
Hurts was replaced in college, Chris. Do you remember?
I do remember this. Yes. Yeah. And
who was he replaced by?
I honestly I can't remember. Who was it?
Tua.
Was it Tua?
Oh, it was absolutely Tua.
Ooh.
So, and someone, I think it was Reckoning Up Above, was like, oh, yeah, Eagles are like the Dolphins. Everything depends on their QB. So you have a QB that was replaced by a younger guy in Jalen Hurts to Tua. Because Tua was the better thrower of the football, and that's what replaced Jalen Hurts. And then he went to Oklahoma and had a good year as his final transfer year. But yeah, super interesting to see the comparisons between those two teams, and it's the same reality. A really, really good roster that is dependent on this quarterback that maybe isn't it. Maybe not going to work out.
You mentioned Macklin. Everyone's like, is Macklin still in the league? He's not.
No, Macklin's not in the league. I was just saying the last time the Eagles had a 1,000-yard receiver, it was Macklin. That's how long it's been. It was like 2013 or something.
Casually average,
which to get an 1,000-yard receiver isn't even that hard anymore. Like it's a passing league.
He's like Jeremy Macklin, Deshaun Jackson, and LaShawn McCoy were all in the Eagles at one point. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. That's a nice little when they were in their prime. I mean,
Andy Reid is coach. What a good team.
What a good team.
By the way, Donovan McNabb, one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time.
Ooh.
He was made by that roster and Andy Reid.
Let's see what else. At least he has the chance to be the best quarterback drafted out of Alabama playing this season. Or played for Alabama, says relax him.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama does not have. We'll see what Mac Jones does. You got Tua, you got Jalen. Alabama's never had, at least in this day and age, like they dominate college football, but it's not because of necessarily like elite quarterback play. That's not really Nick Saban's thing. He'll just out recruit you on like all the other positions and the dogs. Like you get the elite wide receivers, the elite running back, the elite offensive line, and the quarterback doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter anymore because you're better at every other position on the offense.
Yeah. All right. Before we get to the last team in this NFC East division, we are going to talk.
I'll be right back, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead. We will spam code yellow in the chat for Scotty one more time. I think we should be good the rest of the night. I think that we should be able to get through. That's 2 each. So I think we're good. It's code yellow in the chat. I won't calm down until the haters believe in Washington. Well, Washington's going to have to prove it to us this year, Pierre. They're going to have to prove it to us. So, and we're not hating on Washington. We're just telling it like it is. And here's the thing. Can Washington come out of nowhere and be big time, force in this division? It's not. I mean, it's tough. It's tough. The answer probably is no this season. That doesn't mean we're hating on them. Like, just give your boy some time. Give your boy some time, Pierre. Don't force me to believe in what you want. Yeah. It's tough, man. I'm sorry. Hey, Pierre, let's we're all family here, all right? So hey, again, we're all here. We're having a good time. We're talking sports. Let's just keep it chill. We're all part of the same community. It's like I said, whenever we get fired up, we do get fired up at each other quite a bit. It's fine. It's fine to get fired up. It's fun.
I could hear it. Did Pierre get inappropriate again?
No, he's just calling out. He's just,
So yes,
he's just calling out other people, and it's like, hey, we're all big family here. All right, we're fine. Just it's like Thanksgiving dinner. I make this analogy all the time. You always get in arguments on Thanksgiving with your family. Things get heated. You talk politics, whatever, but you still love each other in the end, right? That's how we do it. And Relaxium, to his defense, he's a fiery guy, and he's been a part of our community for a while, but it's sometimes he just gets a little fired up. So, bear with it. Appreciate all of you guys in the chat. You guys are all incredible. Thank you so much for being here. And Pierre wanted us to be all about Washington or else. Well, it's kind of tough to do that.
Shockingly. Shocking.
Nothing new. Let's so before we get to this, we have a little Project One runway segment coming up here next, talking about some of the fashion coming into the next season of the NFL. You guys might have seen some of the alternate jerseys and uniforms.
A lot of helmets. No, alternate helmets are the thing this year, Chris.
It is, and I love it. And we're going to get into our favorites. So we're going to have fun with it here, and we're going to enjoy some of the walking down the runway with some of these uniforms. So make sure you don't go anywhere. But finally, we have the Dallas Cowboys, who is your second favorite team, Scotty. You obviously have a lot of connections with the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, he's got a lot of questions to answer when it comes to the big games. You got Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, that two-headed monster, which we've talked about Tony Pollard being the better of the two going into this season. Ezekiel seems washed, and I feel like he's washed. He made that big money, and he hasn't looked the same since. So you have that issue going on in the backfield. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, you still have a nice little wide receiver core there to kind of give options for Dak Prescott downfield. Dalton Schultz is another nice tight end in that offense. You still have a decent offensive line. It's a little aging. It's aging. It's slightly. It's getting. It's not what it used to be, right? But it's still effective. And then on the defensive side, you would just have studs. Micah Parsons. Where else can you start? Micah Parsons. And then on the secondary, Trayvon Diggs holding down the backfield. So, you have a lot of things to like here in Dallas, which is why they're the favorite to win this division at plus. I got them on FanDuel at plus 125 at the moment. Dallas Cowboys they should be the cream of the crop in this division.
Where I start is again with the standings last year, 12-5. They went 6-0 in this division last year, and they were 3 games separated from the Eagles at 9-8. So there was a big separation between the Cowboys and Eagles as far as standings last year. So when you talk about maybe the Eagles improved, and the Cowboys, you could argue, at least on paper, regress a little bit. I don't know if there's 3 games there or 4 for you to pass them. And not to mention, when the Cowboys and Eagles played twice last year, neither game was remotely close. The Cowboys absolutely blew out the Eagles, the number 1 contender for this division. And when you talk about quarterback play, as we have a lot, clearly Dak's the most reliable, consistent, best quarterback in this division, and it's not particularly close. You have CeeDee Lamb, you have Dalton Schultz, Michael Gallup coming off an ACL will eventually be healthy. I know they lost Amari Cooper. They lost another wide receiver that filled in last year. That was nice. Cedric Wilson at wide receiver. And then they lost some pieces on the offensive line in La'el Collins, Connor Williams, but Connor Williams was kind of trash. La'el Collins was nice, but not elite. And Terrence Steele honestly proved that he could play right tackle for them and fill in and just be just as good, if not better. As far as the passer, listen, the defensive side of the football, I think offensively, this team's going to be fine. I think they need to realize, as I've mentioned before, that Ezekiel Elliott should not be the workhorse, and you have a better running back on your roster than him. and you got to figure that out. And Tony Pollard is your best running back. And how you finagle that when you're paying Elliott all this money that you shouldn't have paid him in the first place, I don't know, but I don't care. Just play the best players. I don't like McCarthy at all as a head coach. I think there's a big problem in Dallas there. Mike McCarthy is kind of trash, in my opinion. Don't think he knows what he's doing. I like their coordinators. I mean, Dan Quinn came in last year and was phenomenal defensively for them. You still have who's the offensive coordinator, the quarterback from
from
from Boise State. Can't think of his name right now, but regardless, he's a nice piece as well. I just think Dallas still has the most talented roster. They added James Washington. They added a
Kellen Moore.
Second round. Kellen Moore. Thank you. That's the offensive coordinator. They did lose Randy Gregory to the Broncos. I liked him a lot at defensive end. They replaced him with Dante Fowler, who can be a pass rush specialist. Drafted Tyler Smith in the first round, an offensive tackle that'll probably start at guard for them this year. So you talked about the aging offensive line, but they did take an offensive lineman in the first round this year that'll probably start at guard and eventually move out to tackle when he's ready to go out there, because he's out of Tulsa. So he's a little, hasn't always faced the top competition. But this team has way more talent and way better quarterback play. So, I still feel like Dallas is the cream of the crop in this division. Do I feel confident that anyone is going to compete for a Super Bowl in this division? I don't. Thank you for the Shaq Shimmy, Commanders fans hater. Who is that?
Guess who has an alt? Guess who has an alt?
No. As I read it aloud, I was like, I no longer want to say thank you.
Welcome back, Pierre. He found a loophole in the system. He can just create more and more accounts. APC, what's up? How are we doing? What else do we have in the chat? Why not?
Tell me, guys, because most people hate the Cowboys. So why shouldn't the Cowboys be the favorite in this division?
So
I think their secondary is a little overrated. I like Diggs, but Diggs is more a turnover guy, but he gives up plays as well. Diggs reminds me so much of Marcus Peters. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but there's a correlation to, yes, you create turnovers and you create big plays, but you also give up big plays, which is a lot like Marcus Peters to me as a Chiefs fan. I didn't even bring up Micah Parsons, though. Let me talk about Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons is going to be the best defensive player. Like, if moving forward, if any team had the number one pick in a free agency draft and every player was available and you had to take a defensive player, Micah Parsons would be the pick. That's how good Micah Parsons is. Micah Parsons was one of the greatest rookies I've ever seen. He can rush the passer. He can play.
He's insane.
In run stopping, he's insane. He can cover. He can do it all. Micah Parsons is elite of the elite. He's so good. Like right now, even not moving forward in years to come, I would call him 1B to Aaron Donald.
That's
Donald, how good I think he is. And he's a very different player than Aaron Donald, but he's that good. He's that good. Micah Parsons is so damn good.
And the thing with Micah Parsons is like he's almost to the talent level of like you tune in to watch him play. Like not a lot of people tune in to watch a defensive player play. You tune in to watch Micah Parsons play defense. Like when the defensive when your team Dak goes 3 and out, it's kind of like, oh, I get to watch Micah Parsons play now. And it's like, that's when you have that kind of a vibe, He's different. You're different. Yeah, exactly.
And I did not know that. When he got drafted by the Cowboys, I was like, all right, I know this dude has some talent, but like, I had no idea what he was going to bring. And he brought, it's insane. I've never seen a rookie that good on the defensive side of the football. I really haven't. I've never seen a rookie that good. That's how high his upside is.
So a couple things here with the Cowboys that kind of worry me a little bit. One, Mike McCarthy, I think, is one big piece that just is always going to be.
Sure.
I don't trust how he manages games. So coaching matters in the NFL. And I mean, we saw it in Denver last season where, we just didn't use timeouts and we didn't do, that's all coaching stuff. And like, you didn't manage the game properly. That's a big deal. An underrated thing that hasn't been talked about either, kicker. They have an undrafted player, Jonathan Garbe on the roster who, has
is it garbage? Garbage?
It should maybe, or garbage is just trash. That's scary. Because, if you think about coming down to the wire in a big game, and let's say Dak gets you in the spot where you need to get a field goal, and you have an undrafted guy, it's kind of a scary thing. Also, depth at wide receiver. You have Lamb, you have Gallup, but I said it earlier about another team about the defensive, or just depth in general. One of those guys goes down, and all of a sudden, you can take out, let's say, Gallup goes down, and all you got to do is throw, a lot of coverage at Lamb, and then you have to have the other guys beat you. Are they good enough, and can they step up? Those are three things that kind of are on my radar when it comes to watching these Cowboys. Otherwise, I like what they're doing, and I think they should win the division. So otherwise, I think they're in okay shape. I think Dak needs to just prove that he can win games, and I think he can do that. So
Dak needs to prove he can be good against the elite of the league. That's his biggest flaw. He went 6-0 against this division last year because they're not the elite. That's why I think Dallas still wins this division. I know some of these teams made strides, especially the Eagles, but I still don't think they're there. And mostly because of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
If you said straight roster, I might take Eagles over Cowboys. But when you have Hurts versus Dak, give me Dak all day.
So I'm going to get to the chat here in a second. Actually, let's get to the chat now. ABC says, obviously, he's a Tom Brady guy out there at Down Under. He says Cowboys are shit. Reckoning, McCarthy, Prescott were too busy bitching about the refs and realized they weren't what went wrong with the team. Parson is insanely good. Mandalorian, welcome in. Cowboys will win the division. Yeah, that's, I think, a consensus, what we think. Actually, no, there's a lot of people, a lot of big time major outlets on ESPN and Fox Sports picking the Eagles. I think they're overvaluing some things, but I still think the Eagles will be good. Reckoning, wide receiver core got weaker, offensive line got weaker. Diggs is going to continue to get burned, says Reckoning.
I mean, some of that's fair, but I don't actually think the offensive line got that much weaker. Maybe less depth, but I don't think the performance is going to be much worse. Now you need help from it. Tyron Smith needs to stay healthy. And the Mandalorian followed it up by being like, Scotty actually had something it just moved off my screen, Chris.
Scotty had something to say worth value.
Wow, Mandalorian. And here I thought we were friends.
I'll take Philly because as long as Hurts is decent, Philly is overall the better team on all fronts besides quarterback.
Not all fronts. Philly's not a very good team. Everyone's hyping Philly, and I don't. Do you remember when Philly was hyped when they were adding Nnamdi Asomugha, and they were like, this is the dream team, and then they just fell flat on their face? I feel like sometimes Philly gets hyped for no reason. Listen, I love the AJ Brown ad. Outside of that, they didn't really do anything. Hassan Reddick, okay. A pretty good pass rusher, maybe, but not elite. What do they really do? They didn't do anything outside of that. So this hype is a little unwarranted to me.
Crazy, yeah. So, all right. So let's break down who we have finishing in this division in order. Scotty, I went first last time. I think we're going to be on the same page this time as well. So it sounds like, all right. So we'll just be consensus. I got Cowboys winning it just barely over Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia is going to give them a run for their money in this division. I think Washington, They might be a little bit close behind Philadelphia, but I think, the drop off after those first two is a little bit more substantial. And then you got the Giants, just an absolute dumpster fire. They are the worst roster in this entire division. The Giants won't be anything this year, and they have a lot of work to do. They need to find the quarterback. So, Scotty, you were in agreement with that?
I agree with that order.
Okay. All right. Hey, Human Juke. Welcome in. I know we've rated you a couple times. You playing that music over there on your channel. Thank you for popping in. Hey, Reckoning, can we give a shout out to Human Juke? He does fantastic, fun, entertaining music stuff going on over there. He's got, every time we rate him, he's always got some sort of he's got the keyboard go. He's got all sorts of crazy stuff going on over there with his setup. So go check him out if you haven't already. Amazing. I can't wait to go check out his channel again. So yeah, there you go. Thanks for popping in and joining the channel. Let's go. Reckoning, Philly wins at 10-7. Dallas makes a wild card at 9-8.
Why is Dallas losing 3 more games this year than last year? Why?
Can we go?
There's no way their roster's 3 games worse than last year.
Hold on, let's look at the win totals real quick. Let's look at win totals for Dallas. Let me see. Right now, Dallas is at 10.5. Over under 10.5 is and they're plus 105 at 10.5. So
9-8 is pretty bold.
Hey, Chairman, thank you for the gifted sub to Human Juke. Let's go. Appreciate that love. Oh, actually, sorry. The alert came up. Appreciate that. Let's go. A lot of subs coming in tonight, guys. Appreciate all the love. Let me update the sub goal counter. There we go. Guys, 45 days, 16 hours, 4 minutes, and 44 seconds left until NFL season. And we are just getting started with all of our division previews here.
So hyped.
So were you going to say something about the Dallas win total?
No, I was just looking for it.
Haters. Thanks, Pierre, for the bits.
Hey, we'll see if we're haters by looking at the Washington.
Oh no, don't do it.
I actually have Dallas at 10 in DraftKings. Dallas is not 10.5, it's 10, and it's minus 110 both ways. It's basically a toss-up call at 10, and I think that's crazy. And Dallas is usually historically bet way more aggressively than it should be. Dallas is gonna win 10 games this year, guys. That's a push at the worst. That's almost as easy as the Denver is at 10.
I knew you were going Denver.
Denver is at 10. That is the easiest under bet in the world because you would never lose money because Denver is not winning more than 10 games. 10 games is Denver's peak.
I might have something to say about that.
Them at 10 is certifiably insane, and I've already dumped money on it, and you should too. You should too, because the worst case scenario, you get it back. Because they're not going better than 10-7. They're not. There's just no chance. There's no chance. There's no chance.
I got Denver winning 10 games.
Like 10-7. They could go 10-7. But then you could just get your money back. But they're not going 11-6, and you could see them going 9-8 a lot more than 11-6.
Human Juke, thank you for the gifted sub coming in. Appreciate that. Gifting out a sub to the community. Thank you so much. Coming in. Hey, by the way, Human, who's your team? And I forget who your team is. Let us know who your team is and where you're. I forget where you're located too. Throw it in the chat. I want to get to know you a little bit more. What else do we got here? More subs. Dallas will win in a weak division, says Sirius. Welcome, Sirius. It's been a while. Sirius, welcome. Chairman of the board. Oh, I thought you were saying take the over, Scotty. Right on again. Plus minus 3 wins for McCarthy effect is contingent on the number of watermelons smashed before the bye week.
I mean, McCarthy is the worst feature of the Cowboys. It's not close.
Reckoning. Conspiracy theory. Hold on. Conspiracy music. chairman of the board is Scotty's alt.
Except he has his own Twitch stream that he literally runs through. I could see it, but maybe you guys just figure out that Chairman and I are right almost all the time.
You guys might
not always.
You guys might be
almost always
just alternate dimensions of each other. Just like
STG is Scotty gonna pay me if I make the bet and they lose? Wait, what bet? Because if you're talking about if you're talking about the Broncos, I get real excited because I will bet anybody on the under on the Broncos at 10.
Maybe Scotty and I are both really smart, and
maybe
or very passionate. Maybe. How about that?
Oh, Denver being under? SCG, I will make that bet all day, every day. I will pay you money. I'm good on a bet. I'm not gonna renege on a bet. Of course, I'm good on a bet.
Let's see.
How much you want to bet? SCG?
What do you got? Denver at over under in DraftKings?
I think it's 10.
I got 9.5 on FanDuel. FanDuel, man.
Yeah. All right, 9.5 at what odds though?
Minus 350. Minus 135. Sorry.
Yeah, that's basically 10. Minus 135 is stupid. You shouldn't even bet on anything at minus 135.
Hey, sometimes
it is, although it's minus 120 on DraftKings. Oh my goodness, I can get even odds on under 10 on DraftKings. It just makes my world glow. Like it's free money that I can just do whatever with.
It's free money. If it's free money, obvious. Throw it all on. Throw your bank account at it. Do it. I can't.
Oh, SCG wants to take Denver under with me, but he wants to be paid if I'm wrong. Yeah, the problem with that is anytime I make a prediction in here that's wrong, people will be like, I rode you and you were wrong. I can't do that.
I think y'all should ride him. I'm
very confident. The under, if you can bet the under on 10 on DraftKings right now at plus 100, do it.
This is not gambling advice.
No, it absolutely is. It absolutely is. How is it not gambling advice? There is no way that you lose that bet. The worst case scenario, you push, Chris. Denver's not winning 11 games. In what world is Denver winning 11 games with fat Wilson?
By the way, I've looked everywhere for fat pictures of Russell Wilson. I can't find any of them. I think you just pulled that out of the meme stream.
You think I created that picture out of nowhere, Chris?
I didn't see any other picture on the internet. G-Girl, welcome in.
What's up, G-Girl?
Oh, perfect. NFC least.
Yeah. Well, some people think this is the NFC dominant division. They think the Eagles are the next greatest thing. Or Pierre thinks his Washington Commanders, I even said Commanders, I was trying to be nice, are relevant, which probably not.
I don't have a team, says Human Juke, but I'm Western NC from Buffalo originally, Bills Mafia OG, and I stream with Risky Biscuit Band a lot, so unofficial partners. Okay, so Buffalo, Bills Mafia obviously bring it. We talked about the AFC East a little earlier about the Bills winning that division. I think they should be in good shape doing that easily, but it'll be fun to watch how Miami advances in that one as far as getting better in that division. Eagles 100%, says G-Girl. She's got Eagles. What else? By the way, can we get a shout out for? Yeah, we got the shout out for G-Girl. She crushes all of the sports content you need.
100%.
She's always bringing it when it comes to all of her insights in NFL, NBA, all those things. So there you go. Go give G-Girl a follow if you have not already. She absolutely crushes. I'm an idiot, though. Stream team dud, says Human Juke. Hey. Either way, man, you crush on your stream. We always love visiting your stream and having fun. So, G-Girl, thoughts on the division list takeaways? We both, Scotty, had takeaways of Cowboys.
We still like the Cowboys.
Cowboys.
This division was separate. The Cowboys won 12 games last year. The Eagles won 9. And I get you could argue the Eagles got better and the Cowboys got worse. But you could also look at the 2 times those teams played. It was not close in either game, Chris, whatsoever. I'm still taking the Cowboys. It's hard for me. I don't trust Jalen Hurts. I love A.J. Brown. I do. I love that addition to the Eagles, but Dak Prescott is clearly the best quarterback in this division, which says something about why we call it the NFC East, Chris, because when Dak Prescott is clearly the best division or quarterback in your division, you're kind of a shit division.
It's not. I mean, this has historically been kind of a shit division, right? And so, I mean, this is kind
the last, 5, 6, 7 years?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean by historically?
By historic, yeah. I mean, recency bias as far as, teams that are, barely 500 making the playoffs.
Outside of Nick Foles leading the Eagles to a Super Bowl, the other teams haven't sniffed a Super Bowl.
And, G-Girl, I'm sorry we had to say your Giants kind of came in last year. They're the worst. They have the worst roster, and I'm sorry to say that, but they do. It's a struggle. Danny Dimes, they're trying to throw all sorts of wide receivers at him and try to see what sticks. And, it's we're trying to figure out what's happening there. So they have an uphill battle in this division. They are picked to go last in this one, and we agree. But we'll see how he develops this year. Again, this is a season of what is my quarterback?
They're tied to Danny Dimes. Not at all after this year. They didn't give him the 5th-year option, so he either puts up or they move on and they have some repertoire. If he plays like trash, they're going to have a high pick next year in a better QB draft than this past year. So the Giants have some hope moving forward. They just this is the year where Danny Dimes has to put up or shut up.
Scotty, you forgot the golden rule of the NFC East. No team shall win the division back-to-back years.
That's not even remotely true. The Cowboys have won 5 years in a row. What are you talking about? When was the last time the Cowboys didn't win the division?
It's been a little bit.
It's been less than 5 years, but the Cowboys have won 4 of the last 5 years for sure.
Besides Hurts, how would you rank the Eagles, Cowboys side by side? Eagles do have a nice roster. The Cowboys, I still like their roster though. I mean, the deficiencies with the Cowboys, I think, are coaching and maybe some depth when it comes to their wide receivers and things. But, I still like a lot of what they bring to the table when it comes to, their defense. They have a lot of nice pieces there. That's just kind of where I'm at with that. Scotty, what are your thoughts?
The rosters, ironically, are pretty similar to me. I think their front 4 on defense is the strength on both teams when you include Micah Parsons in the front 4, if you will. The secondary have question marks on both sides of that. You rely on your front 4 really on defense. On offense, I love Terry McLaurin. I'm talking about the Washington football team right now, aren't I? We're talking about the Eagles. The Eagles, obviously, wide receiver. I love Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. That's the top wide receiver core now in that division. James Bradbury, we'll see what he can add to the secondary play. I don't think the Eagles defense is. There's not a ton of elite. They have some aging guys and Fletcher Cox and things like that are nice, but not elite. I think Dallas has more elite guys, but I think the Eagles have more depth, if that makes sense, on both sides of the football. Dallas, Micah Parsons, is better than anyone on the Eagles, no doubt. And Dak Prescott's a far better quarterback. But once you remove those two, things get a lot more evened up. I think the Eagles come back a little bit. But I like taking elite guys. And hoping you win with elite players.
Diacola got 2 little ones to watch. Good night. Have a good night, Diacola. We will see you back here soon. Thank you so much for all the gifted subs and everything else. Let's give Diacola a nice J.R. Smith goodbye in the chat. Dr. J, welcome up. We were asking about you earlier, Dr. J. What's going on? Yeah, still remember what you told me before. It wasn't nice. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Pierre, you thought we were throwing shade.
Pierre needs to be in detention. Casually average is right.
I think Washington comes in last as G Girl, and obviously that's going to fire up Pierre.
Careful, G Girl. It's not a safe place here with Pierre.
Oh, Pierre, it's all right. Just deep breaths. That's all. Canada relief: Dolphins and Eagles. 2 unproven QBs, 2 vet wide receivers, 2 sophomores, 2 good tight ends. Yeah.
Okay. It makes a lot of sense, actually.
So, with that being said, there you go. Those are our division